Hello and welcome to your mat. My name is Stacey. Today I will be guiding you through a gentle but energizing yoga practice. For today's practice, you'll want to have with you at least one block, option for two. Go ahead and get what you need, and I will meet you lying on your back in Shavasana. So take a few moments to settle onto your back. Arms and legs are wide away from your body, simply relaxing into the floor beneath you. Fingers spread wide, your toes fall out to the sides. Take a few long, slow breaths in and out through your nose. As you breathe in, let your belly rise up towards the ceiling. As you breathe out, let it soften and fall down towards your mat. Keep the body in stillness, but start to turn your gaze over to the right, sending your right ear down towards your mat. You can play with the height of your chin, maybe drawing it closer or further from your shoulder. Just see where you feel the stretch most. Draw your gaze back through center and over to the left. Bring your gaze back through center. We'll start to wake the rest of the body by wiggling fingers and toes. Find some gentle rotations through your wrists and ankles. In both directions. Slide your feet together at the bottom of your mat. Reach your arms up overhead, allowing them to rest on the floor. With a big breath in, we're going to find a full body stretch, lengthening from fingers to toes. As you exhale, soften, relaxing into the mat. Big breath in, full body stretch, lengthening the whole way. Exhale, let that go. Big breath in, full body stretch. Exhale to soften. 2 more, just like that. Start to bend through your knees. Bring the soles of your feet onto the floor first. And And hug your knees in towards your belly, maybe taking your fingers around them, holding onto the back of the thighs, whatever is accessible. Keep that same length through your spine. So each breath in, lengthening from the tailbone to the top of your head, like a full body stretch. Each breath out, gently hug the knees in a little bit closer towards you. You can take a gentle rock from side to side, massaging your low back and pelvis on the floor. Land in the center. Lower the soles of your feet onto the mat. Lift your hips up off of the ground and shift them over slightly to the left, then lower them back down. Draw your knees in towards your belly and allow them to find their way over to the right side, coming into a twist. So your left shoulder is still reaching for the mat. The gaze is to the ceiling at first, the knees are to the right. Option to place your block underneath of the knees if you've got a bit of a gap there. If you have low back sensitivity, you can place the block between your knees instead. The arms can be at your sides or in cactus formation. And if it feels okay in your neck, you can turn your gaze back over to the left. Breathe deep into your lower left belly. Gaze comes back through center. The knees will follow. Press down through the soles of your feet, lift your hips up and just give them a sway from side to side. When they're over to the right, lower them down onto the mat. Your knees can come in towards you and over to the left. Finding your twist in the opposite direction. You can choose to use your props, whether that's a block or a pillow, rolled up towel. You can place them beneath the knees or in between. The gaze is at the ceiling or over to the right as you breathe deeply into the lower right belly. Gaze comes back through center. The knees will follow. Lower the soles of your feet onto the mat, lift up your hips and just give them a little sway. Find your neutral. When you feel like you're centered, lower the hips back down. The knees are bent, heels are walked in as close as you can towards your glutes. We're going to take the block in one hand. Press down through your feet, lift your hips up and slide your block or prop beneath them. Lower your hips down, coming into a supported bridge pose. If you're using a block, you want to use the lowest setting here. You can reach the fingertips towards the heels, draw your shoulder blades beneath you, creating a sense of openness through your chest. The knees are in line with the hips and ankles. They're not splaying out to the sides. Taking long, slow breaths in and out through the belly. Now you're welcome to stay in stillness here in your supported bridge, or we'll find a little bit of movement with breath. Press down to the soles of the feet, and as you inhale, start to lift your hips up a couple of inches off of the block. As you exhale, lower the hips back down. Inhale, lift the hips. Exhale to lower. Inhale, lift the hips. Exhale to lower. Stay with that same movement or adding on a little bit here. With the big breath in, you can either snow angel the arms out and up overhead as you lift the hips up. On the exhale, soften the arms, lower back down, or you can windshield wiper the arms back at your sides. So either taking that snow angel motion with the arms as you move, or if space does not allow, you can simply extend your arms up overhead. Option to take hold of opposite elbows as well. With a big breath in, we're going to lift the hips, extend the arms long overhead. So whether that's with snow angels or if they stay overhead, that's up to you. Exhale to soften. Inhale, lengthen, arms up overhead, hips lift up. Exhale to lower, release the arms. Big breath in, lifted hips extending through the fingers. Exhale, lower. Either variation, finding stillness or movement for 3 more cycles of breath. Settling your hips back onto your prop. Release your arms at your sides with the shoulder blades tucked under. And just settle in for a few breaths. Give yourself permission at any time to lift up your hips and adjust your prop, making sure it's supporting your pelvis, not the low back, and that there's no edges, sharp points digging into you. Find a point of comfort here. Start to draw the knees in towards your belly. Again, you may have to shift your block a little bit, find where it's supportive and comfortable, and then extend your legs up towards the sky. Each time we change position, just checking in on where that block is, how it feels. If you need to reposition, please do. You can also remove it at any time. This entire sequence can be done without the prop. Keep the left leg reaching up towards the sky, and start to bend the right knee in towards your belly. Interlace your fingers around the right knee, shin, or thigh. And slowly extend your left leg long towards the bottom of your mat. Work towards a straight leg, but it's okay if you have to bend a little bit in order to get the left heel on the floor. Looking for a stretch here up the front of the left hip and thigh. Keep both left and right hips evenly weighted on your prop or on the floor. Deep breath in and out through the nose. You can stay centered or you can slide the left foot to the bottom left corner of your mat. Direct your right knee towards the outer right shoulder. but keep your left hip pressing into the ground or your prop. Come back through center with the right knee. The left leg extended long, find center as well. One more big breath here. And then bend the left knee, bring the sole of the left foot onto the floor. With the prop still beneath your pelvis, or you can remove it at any time, we're going to bring the pinky toe edge of the right foot onto the left thigh. And start to direct the right knee away from your shoulders, creating a figure four shape with your legs. Ground down heavy through the left hip. And notice if it tries to creep up towards the left shoulder as you direct the right knee away from you. Keep pressing the pinky toe edge of the right foot into your left thigh with a deep flex in the right ankle. The right toes are drawn towards your right shin. And just a few more breaths here. And release the right foot, draw the right knee in towards you. And bring the left knee in to meet the right. And extend both legs up towards the sky with your toes drawn towards your face. Check in on the block. If it started to shift or reposition, you can adjust however you need. And we'll bend the left knee in towards your belly. Hug it in close as you start to extend the right leg long towards the bottom of the mat. So depending on how tight you are through the front of that hip, you may find that the heel hovers quite high off the floor. You can either fill that space with a prop, so another block or pillow, or just bring a gentle bend into the knee until it's able to touch the floor. As long as you maintain the stretch at the front of the right hip, it does not matter how straight your leg is. And stay centered. Or you can start to slide your right foot to the bottom right corner. Left knee directs towards the left shoulder. Keep the right hip heavy, reaching for the floor. Left knee comes back through center. The right leg finds center as well. And then bend through the right knee. Bring the sole of the right foot onto the floor. And take the pinky toe edge of the left foot, bring it onto the right thigh, creating a figure four shape with your legs for a reclined pigeon pose or thread the needle. And the same posture can be done without the block. It just adds a little bit of a different dynamic to the pose. Keep that right hip as stable as you can as you guide the left knee further and further away from the left shoulder. Release the left foot onto the floor. An option to just remain in your supported bridge pose, or you can start to extend both legs this time towards the bottom of the mat. Maybe you reach your arms up overhead, lengthening, find that full body stretch with the hips elevated. You can play with the position of your toes, maybe drawing them in towards the midline a little bit. But if you're feeling discomfort in the low back, it might be better suited to have them a little bit wider apart. Filling your belly with breath, just allowing the front of the pelvis, the hips, the thighs to open. And slowly bend the knees, bring the soles of the feet onto the mat. Lift your hips up and remove your block. Lower the hips to the ground and just walk the feet a little bit wider to the edges of your mat with the knees tip into touch. Just taking a few breaths here to reset the back. Notice any sensations you might be experiencing. Heel toe, the feet together. Just take a gentle sway of the knees from side to side, releasing any last remaining tension from your low back. Find the center. Bring your left arm up overhead and roll over onto your left side. It's okay if you can't see the screen. Draw your knees in towards you. Just rounding through your back body. Take a few moments lying on your side. Just the same as we breathed into our belly, can you send your breath into your back body? Feel the ribs and the entire back expanding with each breath in, and softening with each breath out. When you feel ready in your own time, find your way up to a tabletop position. So for your tabletop, you want the shoulders to be over the wrists, the hips over the knees. We'll just start to take a few little sways from side to side, sending one shoulder to your hip, gazing over towards your heels. In the opposite direction, so opposite shoulder to your hip as you gaze over to that side. Just alternating from side to side. Maybe releasing to the back of the neck, let your head fall heavy. Pause in the center, neutral spine. We're going to move through cat and cow. So with a big breath in, lift your tailbone, belly drops. Pull the heart forward, lift it up, gaze up. On an exhale, scoop your tailbone beneath you, rounding through your back. Gaze to your belly button. Big breath in, tailbone lifts, belly drops, heart pulls forward and lifts up. Exhale, scoop the tailbone rounding through your spine. Press firmly through the palms of your hands. Chin to chest. Big breath in for cow pose. Soft breath out for cat. Inhale for cow. Exhale for cat. Big breath in. Stay with that same motion, or as you exhale, round your spine. Send your hips back towards the heels, chin to chest, or rounded back child's pose. Release your arms down onto the mat, softening through the arms. Grip through the palms as you glide forward, keeping the heart and chin as close to the mat as you can. When your face approaches the hands, start to press through the palms, lift up into your cow. Exhale, rounded back, hips to heels. Soften the arms, pull yourself forward, staying low. Press up into your cow. Either variation, take 3 more at your own pace. No rush to get there, but when you've finished your 3, just landing in your neutral tabletop. From your tabletop, walk the knees back a couple of inches, shoulders over wrists. Take a big breath in to lengthen. We're in a modified plank here, so you want the hips in line with the shoulders and the knees, not sticking up towards the sky or sagging down towards the floor. A nice straight line with your body. Take that big breath in to lengthen once again. On the exhale, bend at the elbows. Let them graze the ribs as you lower with control onto your mat. Landing on your belly. Palms are on the floor beneath the shoulders. Elbows squeeze in and back towards your heels to create a sense of openness through your chest. The shoelace side of your feet and all 10 toenails are pressing into the floor. Take a big breath in, lengthen through your spine, and lift up the collarbones 1 or 2 ribs up off of the mat. Keep pressing into your feet. Exhale to lower back onto your belly. Inhale, lengthen and lift collarbones. Maybe 1 or 2 more ribs comes up off of the mat. Exhale to lower. Inhale, lengthen and lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lengthen and lift. Exhale, lower. Lengthen and lift. This time we're going to hold the lift. Keep pressing down to the tops of your feet. The shoelaces of your feet are pressing into the mat here. Let the legs become active and the knees and thighs start to lift a little bit off the mat. Gaze is down at your mat a few inches beyond your fingertips. Stay long through the back of your neck. And you're holding the pose but not the breath. You should be able to have little to no weight in the hands here. Letting the strength of the lift come from your back, not pressing through the palms to lift up. One more big breath in. As you exhale, lower down. Press through your palms. Lift up through tabletop. Send your hips back towards the heels for child's pose, allowing your forehead to come to rest on the floor or on your block. Take a full cycle of breath in your child's pose. With the next breath in, come forward, modified plank. Slowly exhale, really resisting gravity here. Make the muscles work for it. Don't just belly flop like a fish onto the ground. Press down through your feet. Take a big breath in. Lengthen and lift into your cobra pose. Exhale to lower. Press through the palms. Send the hips back for child's pose. Full breath here. Let it go. Inhale, come forward, modified plank. We've got a few more of these to go. Exhale to lower. Press to the feet. Inhale, lengthen and lift. Collarbones, a few more ribs comes up. Exhale to lower. Press to the palms. Child's pose. Full breath. 2 more just like that. Inhale, come forward. Exhale to lower. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale to lower. Press through table. Child's pose. Land for a breath. Inhale, come forward. Exhale to lower. Inhale, baby cobra. Little bit of a variation here as you exhale, lower down, press through tabletop. To pause, tuck your toes behind you, lift your tailbone, and send it back, coming into a downward facing dog. Start with a gentle bend in the knees to begin. Really focus on lengthening through the spine. Press firm through your hands. Ears are in line with the biceps. The low ribs tuck in. Really lifting your sits bones to where the ceiling meets the wall behind you. And we'll take a few moments to just walk out our dog by bending one knee as you reach the opposite heel to the floor. Lift up the heel, bend that knee, and extend the opposite heel down. Just alternating side to side, giving each heel the opportunity to reach for the mat. Maybe timing it out with your breath where you reach the heel down on the exhales. Lift it up on the inhales. Find stillness in the center when you feel even from side to side. Don't worry so much about having the heels touch the floor. You can always keep a gentle bend in the knees. Really focus on strengthening and lengthening through the back. One more big breath in. Exhale, lower the knees to the mat, tabletop pose. We're going to extend the left leg long behind. Tuck the toes and lower it onto the mat. With that left leg extended behind, we're going to start to shift the weight into the left heel. Pressing it firmly down into the mat. As if you're trying to step the entire sole of your left foot into the ground. You can play with the weight on the big toe mound of the left foot. See where you feel the stretch most. Shift the weight forward. Take a big breath in. As you exhale, send the weight back into the left heel. Inhale, come forward. Exhale, send it back. Inhale, come forward. Exhale, send it back. Inhale, come forward. Send it back to hold. And shift your weight forward, shoulders over wrists. Left leg is going to lift up, shift over to the right and lower the toes back down. Start to gaze over the right shoulder towards the left heel. Really pressing weight into the big toe mound of the left foot as you reach the heel back behind you. You can play with the height of the left hip. See where you feel the stretch most. Gaze comes back through center. The left leg finds center as well. Turn the left toes to the left side of the room. We're going to start to bend the left knee as you step forward to the top left corner of the mat. Take as many steps as you need. You can even reach back with your left hand, pick up the left leg, and carry it forward. This is a great opportunity to use the blocks if you have them, to add some length to your arms. We're going to heel toe the left leg in a little bit towards the midline so that your legs are about hip distance apart. Just take a few breaths here in a low lunge. The right leg reaching back behind you. Think about drawing your left hip towards the back of the mat, the right hip slightly forward. And the left knee is pointing the same direction as your left toes. Tuck the right toes, lift the right knee, coming up a little bit higher into this lunge. Keep the right heel reaching towards the back of the room. You can keep your hands on the ground or on your block, or if you'd like, you can rise up all the way, reaching for the sky. Option to pause with your hands on the left thigh if that's helpful. Keep the left knee roughly above the left ankle, pointing the same direction as your toes. And draw the right kneecap up towards the right hip. Start to windmill the arms open, left arm to the front, right arm to the back. Pivot on the back toes so that the back foot is roughly in line with the back of the mat. Warrior two. Keep that deep lunge in the left leg. Arms are parallel, so make sure that we're not in a crooked little airplane position. They're roughly parallel to the floor. Pressing firmly to the pinky toe edge of the right foot, gaze over the left fingertips. With a big breath in, the right hand's coming down onto the right leg or low back, left fingertips reach up and back behind you, away from the left knee. On an exhale, we're going to windmill the arms back, warrior two, gaze over the left fingers. Inhale, dance it back, right hand reaches back, left reaches up. Exhale, bring it back. Warrior two. One more time, just like that. Pausing in your warrior two. Keep pressing weight into the pinky toe side of the left foot. Pivot on the right foot, windmill the arms back to frame the left leg. Lower the right knee onto the mat. Finding your low lunge once again. And from here, we're going to shorten our stance. So that can mean that you're picking up the right leg and stepping it forward, or you can walk your left leg back. We want to come into roughly a 90-degree angle with the right leg. So 90 degrees for both. Again, hands can be on the blocks or on the floor. The blocks are just nice to create a little bit of extra space. And make sure you have a wider stance. You're not on a tightrope here. I'm going to just start to take a few gentle circles with the hips, as if you're using a hula hoop. And circle in the opposite direction. Pause in the center. From here, we're going to start to walk the hands over to the right, so that can be with the blocks or without. At the same time, you're going to lift up your right leg and pivot it behind you. So if it's a little bit uncomfortable, if you have a super grippy mat, you can always tuck the right toes, lift the knee, and pivot it slowly. We're going to come to the point where we're facing the same direction as the right thigh. The right leg is behind. Left knee's pointing out beside us in the same direction as the left toes. And you can have your hands on your blocks, or you can bring them now up onto your hips to rise up a little bit. I'm just checking in. See if you can have your pelvis facing the room in front of you while still drawing the left knee back. Take a big breath in, reach up overhead. Exhale, hands to heart. Big breath in, reach up. Exhale, hands to heart. One more time, big breath, reach up. Exhale, hands to heart, really pressing those hands together, elbows reach to the side of the room. Inhale, reach up. This time as you exhale, left hand or left arm comes onto the left thigh. Reach your right fingertips up and over in the direction of the left knee. Keep that right hip roughly stacked above the right knee. Gaze can be forward or up at the sky. Inhale, rise up, both hands to the sky. Exhale, hands to heart. Full breath here. Let it go. Hands can be on the hips or onto your blocks. Take a big breath in to lengthen. And we're going to start to send the left knee in the direction of the left toes over to the left, sinking the hips down low. You can always walk the hands with or keep them on your hips. Just looking to open up, stretch through the inner right thigh. Any discomfort in the knee, please come out. Rise back up through the hips. Pivot on the back leg, so maybe it's helpful to have your hands on the ground. Maybe you're able to just lift the right foot and pivot to face the front of the mat. Bring your hands onto the floor to frame your left foot. Tuck the back toes. You can step it back again if you need to add a little bit of length in your stance. Ground down through the right toes, lift the right knee. Bend the left foot back and up into the sky for a three-legged dog. Downward facing dog with the left toes reaching for the ceiling. We keep the left hip in line with the right. And lower the left toes to the mat. Downward facing dog. Lower the knees, tabletop. We're going to move through the opposite side. Right leg extends long this time. Tuck the toes and lower them down onto the mat. Start to reach the right heel towards the floor. Bringing the weight into the big toe mound of the right foot. Looking for a stretch of the back of the right leg. Shift a little bit of weight forward. Take a big breath in. As you exhale, send the right heel back towards the mat. Inhale, shift forward. Exhale, send it back. Inhale, shift forward. Exhale, send it back. Inhale, shift forward. Exhale, send it back to hold. Pressing firmly through the right foot. Keep the hips even, equal weight left and right hands. Shift your weight forward, shoulders over wrists. We're going to lift up the right leg, shift it over to the left, and lower the toes down. Start to gaze over your left shoulder towards the right heel, really pressing firmly through the big toe on the right. You can play with the height of the right hip, see where you feel the stretch most. Gaze back through center. Right leg finds center as well. Turn the right toes to face the right side of the room. We're going to start to bend the right knee as you step forward with as many steps as it takes to get there. And heel toe in towards the center. Bring the hands to frame the right leg. Option to use those blocks beneath your hands for some support. And check in on the left foot. You want the left toes to be pointing beside you, not over to the right side of the room. Really reaching through the big toe on the left foot. Notice if the left hip is sinking heavily towards the floor. Can you bring it back up in line with the right? We're going to tuck the left toes. Start to lift the left knee off of the ground, becoming a little bit more active in this lunge. Even weight on the big toe and pinky toe of the left foot, and reach the left heel towards the back of the room. You're welcome to stay right here if this spot is working good for you. Or we're going to rise up a little bit higher, maybe pausing with your hands on the thigh, or reaching up all the way to the ceiling. Squeeze your thigh muscle on the left leg in towards the bone, staying active through the left leg. Pivot on the left foot, windmill the arms open for warrior two. You can widen your stance if you need. Deep lunge in the right leg, gazes over the right fingertips. Look over the right knee and see if you can see the big toe of the right foot. If not, see if you can open the knee up a little bit behind you. With your next big breath in, left fingertips come to the left leg, right fingertips reach up and back behind. Windmill back, warrior two. Inhale, dance it back. Keep the right knee lunging forward. Exhale, warrior two. One more time, just like that. Landing in your warrior two. Take a few breaths in warrior two. Stay deep into your lunge. Windmill the arms to frame the right foot. Pivoting on the left. And lower your left knee down to the mat. I'm just taking a pause here in your low lunge with or without the blocks. And then we're going to shorten the stance of our lunge. So maybe that means walking the front leg back. Maybe you're able to pick up the left knee and walk it forwards. for that 90-90 shape with your legs. Start to take hula hoop motions with your hips. In both directions. And pause in the center. That left foot's going to become light on the floor. We're going to just start to walk the hands over to the left. As you walk the hands, you're pivoting on the back leg. So you can either lift the foot or you can press down to the left toes, lift your knee, and pivot as you go. We want to land with the left hip over the left knee, the left foot pointing behind you. Right leg points out to the side in the same direction as your toes. Hands can be on the hips, onto the blocks. If you are able to bring your hands up onto your hips, we're going to take a few breaths together. Big breath in, reach up. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands to heart. Pressing the palms firmly. This breath in, we're going to reach up high. On the exhale, bring the right hand or right arm onto the right leg. Extend up and over to the right with the left arm. See if you can keep your left hip stacked over the left knee and the left shoulder drawn back. A lot of times it likes to creep forward towards the right knee. Stay open through your chest. Big breath in, rise up. Exhale, hands to heart. Full breath here. Hands on the hips or on your blocks. We're going to start to send the right knee in the direction of the right toes, as if you're coming to the inside of the left knee here. Sinking your hips towards the ground. You may not be able to go very far, that's okay. And keep your right heel reaching for the floor. Keep the right knee drawn behind you. Stay open through the front of the thighs. One more big breath here. And then rise up all the way. With or without the blocks, we're going to start to walk the hands forward to frame the front leg, slowly, carefully pivoting on the back. Maybe you lift up your knee in between. You may find it helpful here to slide your left leg back a little bit just to create length. Left toes are tucked. Start to lift the left knee. We're going to shift the hips back as you slide the right leg back and up for a three-legged dog. Pressing firmly through the hands. Notice if the right hip is lifting. Can you lower it down? Lower the right leg to meet the left. Downward facing dog. One more big breath here. Inhale, come forward, knees to the mat, child's pose. Bend your hips back towards the heels. Take a full breath in your child's pose. Let it go. Inhale, come forward. Modified plank. Exhale to lower onto your belly. Press with the feet. Inhale, lengthen and lift. Baby cobra. Exhale to lower. Press through the palms. The child's pose. Allowing your forehead to rest on the floor or on a block. maybe closing your eyes. And taking a few long, slow breaths just as you are. You have the option to finish your practice here in child's pose, allowing it to become passive by relaxing the arms and letting go of all effort. Or you are welcome to return to your back and finish your practice in Shavasana. Just listening to your body and allowing this practice to be yours alone. Whatever practice or pose you choose to wind down your class, find as much stillness there as you can, avoiding temptation to fidget, to squirm. Instead, turn your awareness to your breath, taking long, slow breaths in and out through your nose. And feel the natural movement of the body that follows. Allow that movement to be enough. When you do feel ready to get up and go, do so slowly and mindfully. I hope you take with you a little bit of the energy you've cultivated on your mat today, with you into the rest of your day, week to follow. And with such gratitude, as always, Namaste.